Hey you guys, so today I wanted to sit down and film an updated everyday skin and foundation routine for you all. I feel like at the moment I'm just really happy with my kind of primer and skin routine. I've just kind of found a bunch of products that are really working for me at the moment. So yeah, I kind of wanted to sit down and show you guys exactly how I do my foundation and how I do a long-lasting, everyday, dewy skin look. I am a big fan of the more kind of sheer to medium coverage, like dewy glass skin look. That was a mouthful. So yeah, I thought that you guys would enjoy kind of just sitting down with me today and just kind of going through my skin routine. Another thing that I am going to very quickly mention before we get into the video as well is my new backdrop. I have been working on my beauty room a little bit more this week. I just kind of have bought some like new bits and pieces and some new plants and this like circular mirror behind me, and yeah, I do want to show this room off as well because it's looking pretty fab in here, and I'm very excited for you guys to see it. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. Do you guys like my Starbucks cup? I think it's pretty great. So the very first thing that I am going to be doing today is applying an SPF. You guys, please do not forget your SPF, or if you're not currently using an SPF, please buy an SPF. It's so important for your skin and like your overall skin health to be using an SPF, especially on your face. UV rays are so damaging to your skin, so please don't skip out on the SPF because it is very important. So this is from a brand called Zoe Skin Health. Annoyingly, with Zoe Skin Health, this is a medical grade skincare brand, so a lot of the time you can only get this from like dermatologists or in aesthetic clinics and you guys, you don't have to use this one. You can use Glossier, do a really great SPF. Who else does everyone does, like every skincare brand does SPF now because it is that important. So yeah, go, please, whatever you do guys, just don't skip your SPF. So yeah, I'm going to be using this Zoe Skin Health one today, but as I said, it really doesn't matter what brand that you use as long as you're using something to protect your skin. So I'm going to dot that all over the skin first of all, and then I'm just going to rub this in. The reason why I do like the Zoe Skin Health SPF is because it does feel very hydrating on the skin, but also it kind of evens out my skin tone a little bit as well. So I find that I don't really need to use an awful lot of foundation when I use this SPF because it's almost like, it almost gives the same effect as a tinted moisturizer does. So it kind of just makes my skin look nice and healthy and glowy and a little bit more evened out without having to put loads of foundation on top. So now we are going to move on to our primer. I have been making a little concoction of my own with my primer. This is kind of like my favorite mixture for really healthy, glowy summer skin. So I mix these two little bad boys together. This has kind of become my favorite primer mixture, like these two products mixed together, not so much mixed together but just kind of laid on top of each other. So this is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, and then this is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. So this is going to give your makeup longevity, and it's also going to make your skin look very smooth and very perfected. And honestly, the way that foundation sits on top of this primer is just stunning. But with the Flawless Filter, I wouldn't really say that this is so much of a primer, and it's not quite a liquid highlighter either, but it just gives your skin the most beautiful dewy glow. And when you put a more sheer kind of light coverage foundation on the top of this is going to give you that kind of model, glowy, Kendall Jenner skin. The way that I like to apply these two is I will put the Smashbox primer on first. So you only need a tiny little bit of this as well. A little bit really does go a long way with this primer, and I always start around my nose and like this area here where my pores are a little bit more prominent, just to make sure that that is where I'm putting most of the product. Then I'm going to take the Flawless filter and I just apply this over the top. I put it in the areas where I am going to highlight my face anyway, so I always put it on my nose and then just like a little bit above my brows and my chin area. And then I'm just taking my damp beauty sponge and I just press that into this skin. Let's talk about foundation. I have changed the way that I wear my foundation so much in the last year. It's honestly crazy. I find nowadays that the more foundation I wear on my skin, the more textured I make my skin look. I used to be a full-on heavy coverage kind of girl, and if you are that kind of gal or boy, that's totally fine. I think each to their own of this kind of thing. Like, however you want to wear your makeup, however is going to make you comfortable, that is your thing, and you should do whatever is going to make you feel happy and secure with yourself, basically. So these days I do tend to go for more of a light to medium coverage with my foundation. I'm going to talk you guys through some foundations that I absolutely love, because you guys do ask me a lot about foundations and foundations that I would recommend. I was actually thinking about maybe just doing a dedicated video to all of my top cruelty-free foundations for you guys, so let me know if that's something that you want to see as well. But I'm going to just very quickly mention 3 foundations that I really like to you guys today. So the first foundation that I have here is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder foundation. This is a really nice foundation if you guys want to go for a super natural skin-like finish. This is a really beautiful foundation for that, but it is also quite buildable as well. If you are a little bit more on the oily side, this foundation may not be for you because it is a very glowy foundation. However, if you guys do have dry skin, or if you're looking for a foundation just for like everyday natural kind of wear, a foundation for work for example, definitely try this one out because it is really beautiful. The next foundation that I have here is more of a medium coverage. So this is the Milk Makeup Blur foundation, and this one is a medium coverage. You can definitely build it up to a more full coverage if you want to. This one is quite matte as well, so one thing I would recommend doing with this one is maybe mixing a little bit of your moisturizer into it. It's a really pretty foundation. It doesn't sink into my pores. It makes my skin look really nice and smooth, and yeah, again, it's just a really nice everyday foundation. This last foundation that I have is more of a medium to full coverage, but you can definitely sheer it out a little bit. And I have talked about this foundation so many times on my channel. You guys probably already guessed what it is. It's just a holy grail foundation for me, and that is the Too Faced Born This Way. I just honestly think that this is such a perfect everyday foundation. It has a really nice balance between dewy and matte. It's kind of more of like a skin-like finish. It's not overly dewy, it's not overly matte, it just looks really beautiful on the skin. Obviously we are doing more of an everyday summer skin look, so I definitely want to go more on the lighter side with my coverage. I really don't want to be wearing a ton of foundation in the summer, so I'm going to be mixing these 2 foundations together. So I'm going to mix the Too Faced Born This Way with the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder. I'm mostly going to use this foundation, but I'm going to put a drop of the Too Faced in there just to boost up the coverage a teeny tiny bit. What I like to do is just dot the foundation onto my skin and distribute the product around, and I always start in the center of my face, because what I like to do is apply the foundation where I feel like I need it most, which is generally like this area of my face here, and then I like to blend it outwards. So I'm going to take a little flat topped brush, and then I'm going to spray a little bit of my Anastasia Dewy set onto the brush, and then I'm going to start blending that foundation out. I'm then going to spray a little bit more of that dewy set onto my sponge, and I'm just going to kind of push that foundation into my skin. Let's talk about concealer. I am a big fan of dewy concealers except in the summer. I really do not like dewy concealers in the summer. I find that they move around on my face. I find that they crease under my eyes. I just find that there's a time and a place for my dewy concealers, and for me it's in the winter when my under eyes are a little bit more dry. In the summer, not so much. My favourite summer concealer is actually Tarte Shape Tape, and I know that that's going to be quite surprising to some of you guys because this is like crazy full coverage and I am doing more of like an everyday natural skin look, but hear me out, okay? The reason why this concealer is amazing in warm weather is because I find that the creasing on this concealer is very, very, very minimal, but you really don't need to use a lot of this concealer. You can make this concealer look very, very natural on the skin, and I'm going to show you guys how. So I am one of these people that has been very, very guilty of taking this concealer and applying a giant triangle on my under eyes, and if you guys want to do that, you do you, honey, okay? If that's your thing, that is your thing, but I can't wear my concealer like that. It does not sit well on my face at all. So the way that I like to apply this concealer is I just literally put a dot on my under eyes, my nose and my chin, and the only reason I actually apply it to my nose, my forehead and my chin area is to highlight. But I would actually recommend, if you guys do have breakouts or you have acne and you really do want that extra coverage, definitely get a shade of this concealer in the same shade as your foundation, and then use that in areas that you want to spot conceal as well, and then that can hide all of your breakouts for you as well. So I'm going to take my beauty sponge. I have just dampened it with a little bit more of the dewy set, and then I'm going to just blend that concealer into the inner corner of my eye, and then I just kind of slowly bring it out to my under eye as well. I know that I've talked about this product in particular so many times on my channel, but this is such a beautiful, beautiful product for summertime. If you guys really do want that kind of dewy, fresh model skin, then try this cream bronzer out, because it's just so gorgeous. It's so quick and easy to use, and I never ever contour my skin anymore. I literally just use this cream bronzer, and I always put a little bit of powder bronzer on the top, and I love it. So all you need to do is literally just apply this in the areas where you would apply bronzer anyway. So I just pop it on my cheeks. I also put a little bit, just kind of, that I made a mess of that, but I put a little bit on my nose. It doesn't matter, it blends out so beautifully anyway, so it doesn't even matter if you've messed it up on your nose a little bit. You can 100% blend this out with your beauty blender if you want to, but I actually find that it blends out so beautifully with a brush. So I'm going to take my foundation brush, spray a little bit more of the dewy set on the brush, and then I'm just kind of stippling that bronzer into the skin. So I'm now going to set everything. So I actually like to use two different powders on my face. I like to use a powder for my under eye, and then I use a powder for my T-zone as well. The powder that I love using on my under eye is this little guy from Hourglass. So this is the Ambient lighting powder in the shade Ethereal Light. I'm just grabbing some of that powder on my brush, and then I'm just pressing that onto my under eyes. I do also like to bring it across my eyelid a little bit and just kind of set the concealer that we put there, so then my eyeshadow is like good to go. So I'm going to take a little bit of this powder. One thing that we're not going to do is powder any of this area of our face. We want that dewy, kind of like creamy glow to stay put. I don't want to matte this side of my face down. I'm literally only setting my chin, nose and forehead area, and I do also put a little bit kind of like around my nose here as well, just where my foundation tends to separate. And as you guys can see, I am using more of a patting motion to apply this powder. One thing I will say to you guys, I never kind of run my brush around like this on my face. I just find that it moves my foundation, and that's when I tend to get those, like, you know when you get those little dots on your face from where your foundation has moved. That normally happens for me when I kind of move my brush around a little bit too much. So you kind of want to avoid moving the foundation underneath the powder. You literally just kind of want to set everything in place. So that's why I like to do more of a tapping motion instead of swiping. Okay, so makeup is done. I kind of wanted to go for more of a soft glam today, seeing as we did like a softer summer skin. This is kind of typically how I would do my makeup on an everyday kind of summer basis as well. It's like so quick and easy. I know that it does look a little bit more glam with lashes, but I just love wearing lashes. So you could totally wear this look, but just like skip the lashes, you know. So yeah, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and found it informative. I do really like doing these kind of videos where I just kind of like focus on one part of my makeup and do it really in depth for you guys. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to do an updated skin and foundation routine for you all. So yeah, so anyways, I hope that you've all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you want me to film next, and I will see you on my next video.